Hi friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it's time for Try a Chapter and a Coffee. And there's a reason, a specific reason why I'm planning on doing this, because I'm trying to get a bingo on my autumn bingo board. And the bingo I'm currently going for is this diagonal right here. Now, I'm currently working on the corn situation, the corn prompt, and that should be coming out to you soon. But I also want to work on the very next one in this line, which is, let's see, there was harvest, corn, coffee. And I thought, what better way to celebrate coffee and the fall than going and experiencing and enjoying some coffee at a coffee shop while doing a try a chapter and a coffee. And I also thought it'd be fun to celebrate the fall season by making it spooky and reading some spooky books off my shelves and seeing if I want to keep these ones, because I actually have a lot of spookier types, mystery, thriller, horror. I think that's the section on my bookshelves where I am probably the least confident whether or not I want to read those books, and I end up getting unhauls from people. So I've got 4 books today that I can't wait to share with you. First, we've got Meg by Steve Alten, and I have had people tell me that this is great and that I'm going to enjoy it. It's a mass market paperback. I got this from my cousin who unhauls a lot of books, and it's about a shark. So I believe I will enjoy this, but I haven't had any inclination to pick it up. And so I want to push myself to pick it up by reading a chapter. Next, I don't remember where I got this one from. I got it fairly recently, within the last year and a half, 2 years. The Coffin Path by Katherine Clements. I can't remember how I got it, but this is also another one where I'm curious about it. I'm interested in it. Wasn't it an unhaul? It might have been an unhaul. Somebody unhauled it to me, but I have not had any reason to pick it up, and it's spooky, and I want to read some more spooky books, or at least check out these spooky books right now. So this is one that maybe I'll learn more about it, and I'll be more excited about it having read the first chapter. Then I've got 2 more books that I got from my cousin. He unhauled these books, and the first one is The Unwanted by Saul. I know that this is a really well-known horror author, but I know nothing about Saul, to be honest, and so I wanted to give this one a try. It is a pretty spooky cover, and see what this is all about, because otherwise I won't be as excited or as inclined to pick this up. And the same is true with the complete stories of Robert Bloch. I know that this is another well-known horror author, and I am curious to try it because I don't know how excited I am for it. And so this is actually a short story collection, so I'll read 1 or 2 of the short stories within this. They seem pretty short, and the book is called Final Reckonings. So 3 of these are from my cousin, 3 of these are unhauls from him, and we'll see how those go. And one of them is an unhaul or something from somebody else. I don't know exactly, but these are the 4 books that I'm going to be giving a try today, and we're going to see if I'm going to keep them or if I'm going to unhaul them. And the way that I do this is that I try a chapter of each book while enjoying some coffee at a local coffee shop, and then if I enjoyed that first chapter, I decide I want to keep this book. I want to put it on my shelf and make sure that I do get a chance to read it. If not, I take it to a little free library and I unhaul it right away. So either I'm keeping these books today or I'm unhauling them. If you'd like to see some of my other Try a Chapter and a Coffee videos, I will link the playlist up here and see how it went in the past. I also have plans to read some of the books that I've saved from those try a chapters, and hopefully within the end of this year or the beginning of next year, I'll get started on that little spin-off series for this series and actually get the books that I end up saving read for my Try a Chapter and a Coffee series. Okay, so I've picked up a few people who want to help me try a chapter and a coffee, and I want to hear what you're reading.
So I am reading These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs.
Thoughts so far?
I haven't read it.
Oh, you haven't even started it?
No.
Where'd you get that?
It's gonna be the first chapter, thrift store.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never heard of that before, so I'll be interested to hear what you think of your try chapter.
Yeah.
If it'll be any good.
I think it will be.
What are you reading, Mom?
Hang on, I gotta get the name.
She's reading this Greek cozy mystery series.
It's so fun.
Oh, it's set in Greece, I think, right?
Yeah. I'm reading Holy Ghouls, a Greek ghouls mystery book. And they're
Who's
funny.
the author?
Alex A. King. A. King. They're so hilarious. They're cozy mysteries. This woman sees ghosts.
We are going to head to Makeworth Coffee Shop, which I don't think I've shown that place at all in these videos, and I've only been there once before, so it'll be fun to go try it out, see what they have to offer. And it's near downtown because we have to do a couple of chores before we actually make it there, so fingers crossed it's open and there's not too many people there, but we're gonna find out once we get there and we get to try a chapter. Well, you get to try a chapter, yeah. I get to try 4 chapters.
I'm gonna keep reading
and
my
Mom's
book.
gonna keep reading her book. I have finished the first 2 chapters of Meg, because the very first chapter was only 4 pages long, and it was basically talking about megalodons in the wild, like when the other dinosaurs were around. So it was just basically giving you an idea of how megalodons behaved with other dinosaurs back when they were alive. And then the second chapter was the current day, and that's what I wanted more of. I wanted the current day to see what I thought about that. And it has a very Jurassic Park vibe. Basically, you're at this lecture where this professor is telling everybody his thoughts on... Oh, there's a wasp. He's basically telling everybody his thoughts on whether or not megalodons could actually be alive nowadays, and some of the reasons why he has theories where he believes that megalodons can be alive now. So that was very interesting, and there are some secrets that we are clearly not understanding yet about this professor. I feel like it will be a fun, exciting read. It feels very like, okay, this could be like Jurassic Park kind of read. Maybe not quite as technical as Jurassic Park was. And there's definitely a bit of chauvinism. You can tell it was written by a male author back in like the... When was this written? Late 90s. Yeah, that's not surprising at all. So when he's talking about women, he's always like, well, she was a beautiful this, and she wore an outfit that showed off the legs and da-da-da-da. So it was kind of like, well, why aren't you talking about men that way? And so that was the only thing where I was like, okay, that might be a little annoying while reading it, but I still find it fascinating and fun. I think it's going to be a fun read. So for that reason, I might end up keeping this one. Okay, so for the Coffin Path, the beginning of this is set in like the 1600s. The beginning of this is at this big manor where it's winter time, and our main character, who, as you saw in that first paragraph, she lost her mother in childbirth, but she is in charge of this flock of sheep. I don't know what her role is in this location, this place, but she's out wandering around in the 1600s in the cold, the winter, and there is a ewe that is trying to give birth to a baby, and it's struggling. And she finds this ewe in this like run-down little cottage, and she helps bring the baby out. It has basically torn up the inside of the mom, and it's gonna die if she doesn't help it. So that whole part, if you saw the look on my face, that whole part was very gruesome and very detailed. And so it definitely made me feel feelings, and I liked that, and I liked the writing of this. And then after that, she tries to get the baby back to the manor as quick as possible, and she has to follow the Coffin Path up the trail to the manor, and something is basically following her, and she can tell that it's evil and not good. She gets there in time, but she turns around and she sees a figure there. And so you would think, because I love Gothic stories, I thought the writing was great, that this would be a ghost story I'd be interested in, but the actual story itself, I wasn't excited to continue on. So that makes me think that this might not be a keeper for me, because why waste my time with something I'm not excited about? The Unwanted by John Saul. I don't really know what this is about, except that there's this young girl at the beginning of this who clearly has a very abusive mother, and she experiences, along with this other little kid, these quicksand areas along the beach. It's very strange, and her mother has basically threatened her to stay away from the quicksand, of course, but done it in a very abusive way because her mom is quite abusive. And yet she is attracted to the quicksands by this little kitten that her and this little boy follow and gets stuck in the quicksands. And I don't know if that's real or if that's just a dream or something, but now we're at this point where we have this 16-year-old named Cassie, and her mother has just died, and her mother is very abusive, so I'm guessing that she is supposed to be that little 2-year-old. And from what I read about the synopsis, she's going to go live with her father on the East Coast. So she's currently living in California on the West Coast, and she's going to go live with him. And I think at some point she comes into contact, like the synopsis of this says witch, like W-I-T-C-H. So I'm guessing she's going to come into contact with this person or this woman she's been dreaming about, who's kept her safe or feeling safe ever since that time she got stuck in the quicksand. And this woman, who she would have rather been her own mom, I think they're going to come into contact in person. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the story is, but I really liked the writing of this one, and the setting, the way it was set up, was a lot more interesting to me. So for this one, I'm not sure what the story is and how exciting the story is going to be, but I like the writing and the setting well enough that I think I'm going to actually keep this one. I'm intrigued. I am interested in continuing. I think that's the important part here.
Oh, okay, so it's pretty good so far. The first chapter, you meet, I can't even say the name, so I'm not going to try, but you meet a cleric, and she comes to her old school where her instructor has asked her to come just to see the new kids, and they're taught to fight, and they're taught history and religion, and she watches them all battle each other, and then she chooses one that she wants to take on as an apprentice later in life. It's good.
You liking it so far?
I like it so far.
Okay. Cool. How did your reading go?
It's funny. I mean, there's death, so I guess it's not that funny, but these Greek people and how they talk about women and all this stuff is just hilarious. She's got all these ghosts hanging around her apartment trying to figure out how to get rid of them, and she has to solve why they're still on Earth. One of them wants to find out who murdered her. The other one, he did a time jump. When he got killed, he was at the coroner's office, and the coroner was doing his test on him, and all of a sudden he aged. He looked 30 when he died, and he was 65 by the time they were done with the autopsy. Scary. No, it was funny.
Finally, we get the complete stories of Robert Bloch. This is a collection called Final Reckonings, and from what I read about Robert Bloch, he is the author of Psycho, the book Psycho, and I've never read that yet, which I would be interested in reading. He is a bit problematic because of, well, this was written in the 80s, so you can imagine there's a lot of issues in this with racism. There's a lot of issues, not in this necessarily, but in his writing with like racism and sexism and what have you. Not saying that's okay, just saying that's not surprising considering it was written in the 80s. I didn't have an issue with that with the first story. It was called Mannequins of Horror, but I just didn't find the writing very compelling. It was interesting. It was a unique idea. I was kind of just ready to be done, and that's not how you want to be when you want to get excited about a book. So the first story didn't really pull me in. It was about this man who was in an asylum, and he was a surgeon. He started creating all these anatomically correct little clay people. And within the asylum, he starts infusing himself into these little clay creatures, his mind, and he starts being able to manipulate them and move them and what have you, basically turning himself into these little clay humans. And that's a really interesting concept, but I just wasn't that excited about the story. So I don't know, I'm just not I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I think it's the writing. I don't think the writing is pulling me in as much as I wanted it to, considering how interesting that premise, that story was, that first little short story. Okay, so we're gonna head out to a little free library, and once we get there, I'll be thinking about these 4 books. I will make the final decision, and we'll see which books I leave and which books I end up keeping.
Sounds good.
I kind of have an idea of what I'm gonna pick, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 2 that I'm gonna get rid of, but I'm gonna think about it a little bit longer. Okay, I think I'm gonna get rid of the Coffin Path because I'm just not as excited about it as I want to be, and this short story collection's not grabbing me. So these are the 2 I'm getting rid of. Okay, so of the 4 books that I initially started my day with, I decided to keep 2 of them. Meg by Steve Alten, because this one seems like it's going to be a really fun read, reminiscent of Jurassic Park. You know, the aspect of it that was irritating to me, aka the somewhat chauvinistic portrayal of women, was a bit annoying, but not a big enough issue at the beginning of the book for me to not want to read this book. And I am very curious. It is definitely along the lines of something that I would be interested in, because it's a fiction thriller that has some scientific basis in it, and that's very interesting to me, especially when it comes to dinosaurs and sharks and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing if this does get really thrilling and exciting and scary, because I have a feeling at some point in this they're going to be going down in the depths and experiencing megalodons. So this one seems like it's going to be fun, like a fun read. I still don't know what I feel about this one, except that I was much more interested in the writing, maybe not necessarily the writing. The Coffin Path itself, the writing was more lush because it was a Gothic novel. I think for that one I was less interested in, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I may regret putting the Coffin Path in a little free library, but at the moment it just didn't have much appeal to me. And considering I like Gothic novels and I liked the writing style, it's a little surprising, but I have to go with the vibe that I'm feeling right now and what I want on my TBRs, what I want to be picking up at the moment. And this one definitely had more interest. It held more interest as far as being interested in the characters. The writing was more accessible in a way that I wanted to read right now, and I think that I'm more interested in this story versus the story for the Coffin Path. Hopefully this will be a win. Hopefully they will both be wins, and I'll get to them sooner rather than later. We'll see. This is a good time to be reading them right now, but I do have so many options at the moment of other spooky books that I'd like to read, but I do want to get to these 2. So these will go back on my shelf and I will have them available, and hopefully I'll think about them when it comes to TBRs in the future. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've read any of these books, if I made a mistake, if I made an error. I have a feeling I might have gotten the Coffin Path from Margaret Bernard, because she did some unhauling, and so I might have gotten that one from her, but I'm not positive. I can't remember. Okay, so this is Amy from the very distant future, editing Amy, and I didn't get a chance to finish my autumn bingo, but I had such a good time trying to finish it. I really had a fun time with the harvest and the corn and our try-a chapter that I wanted to share what I finished, how I finished this. And you know, it's almost there. It's over halfway of a bingo, but it didn't quite happen this past fall, but that doesn't mean it won't happen next fall. But at least I got to enjoy part of the season and have a good time doing it. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens the next time I try a chapter or the next time I do a seasonal challenge. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.